Hello everybody, Nell here from the Four Corners, and welcome to a video again centered on the Merlopians taking over Ninjago City. And by the end of the video, you'll either come to two conclusions: either Kalmaar was extremely dumb and really obsessed with Wojira, or the Merlopians were wiped out by a disease. It's not going to make sense right now, but it will once I give you the whole context. So the whole idea of Kalmaar was he hated us surface dwellers, and I'm not sure completely why that is. That's why he wanted to release Wojira and ultimately take over the surface dwellers' lands and really make them suffer. And whether it was planned or not, Kalmaar ended up killing King Trimaar. I'm not sure if that was his goal from the start, but he ended up taking control of the whole Merlopian army. And this is where things start to get a little dicey, because if he took over control of the whole Merlopian army, he actually didn't need Wojira, and here's why. So according to Ninjago history, the Merlopians and the Keepers of the Amulet were one of the very first civilizations to inhabit Ninjago, and using that logic, the Keepers and the Merlopians should have the most population to ever exist out of any civilization that exists in this land. Now the Keepers, I can kind of get why their population never got so big. They live on an island, and I guess they kind of ran out of resources, so their population wasn't able to multiply that much because of certain limitations. However, the Merlopians, there's already a chance that they might have existed before the Keepers because they're water-based, and usually water-based beings are formed before the land-based beings. Plus, since they live in the ocean, there's almost no limitations for their population to kind of expand. It just goes on forever. If Ninjago is anything like our Earth, then the ocean is like one of the biggest places for a civilization to grow. And since they're one of the oldest civilizations, then Merlopia should be so many times bigger than whatever Ninjago is. So coming back to Kalmaar, if he was able to kill his own father and brainwash his people to think that the ninja killed King Trimaar and kind of fuel them with vengeance as well, he has access to one of the biggest armies in Ninjago. He can literally take over the surface land like that. He doesn't even need to sacrifice that much for Wojira. This is where Kalmaar is kind of dumb comes in. Maybe Kalmaar was so obsessed with Wojira he just didn't realize this, and it's kind of scary to think that Merlopia could take over Ninjago at any moment. But another possibility that I feel like is more likely here is that the Merlopians and the Keepers just kind of went through a giant disease. Maybe not the Keepers because their population couldn't expand anyway, but the Merlopians, maybe there was a giant disease that wiped out a lot of their population out. And that's why Kalmaar was smart enough to know that if they had a big army, they could take over the surface land like that. But maybe in this case, Kalmaar is not the dumb one, but instead, Merlopia doesn't have a population like we think it is, and that's maybe because of some giant extinction that happened. And that would explain why there isn't as much as octopus people as we saw in the flashback, and why there's just a bunch of new snake guys. Maybe these guys were new recruits after the giant disease. So either way, comment down below which one you picked. Was King Kalmaar just not smart and too obsessed with Wojira, or are we wrong and are there not as much as Merlopians as we think there are, and there was some massive disease or extinction that happened in the middle? Thank you for watching a video talking about the very evil King Kalmaar. I think we can all agree that this guy is super bad. I mean, he killed his own dad. Who does that? Poor Penthomar, right? And as usual, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.